gosh, it feels like it's been forever. It's been like almost a week. Oh my god. Stretch, hydrate. Hi Mumu, hi Ash, hi Chio, hi Box, hi Peachy. No stream withdrawal. I had a streaming withdrawal, but I was working on some very exciting things. And they should be okay and ready by the time the stream ends. So that's very, very exciting. I hope you guys are excited for the surprise. Also, is it just me or is my mouth really slow today? Is the thing you were tweeting about? Yeah. I tweeted about it and then I mentioned it in the Discord. So just so you guys know, everybody who's a regular, so if I know you pretty well, and then also anyone who's in this chat today, and then anyone who's already in the server gets this exclusive thing, and then everybody else after today doesn't get it as exclusively. That makes sense. Oh yeah, baby. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's my special gift for you guys. So how have you guys been? How have you guys How have you guys been since the last time? I think Nui did that for me when I was playing Shadow of the Colossus. I'm heading home and I'll be there. Oh, yeah! Nui Bay, so true. Da na 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 na. Right before the stream, I pressed this trailer for some video, and it was like a dark ambient cover of Every Time We Touch, and I really want to listen to it. Playing Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch. How do you like it? I haven't played it in a while. I miss it. I miss being a little crazy guy. Got 2 gifted subs in one day. Also found... You found out... Wait, did you find out you're shorter than you thought you were? Or taller than you thought you were? You have it on the Xbox. Oh yeah, I remember that. Wow, 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 wow. Started working on a little project. Oh, what kind of project? Oh yeah, I guess I was also, aside from the project that I was working on, I was also messing around with my chibi model. So my eyeballs jiggle. And my ears are more wiggly too. Not these ears, but my chibi model ears. I don't keep track of my height, so finding out I'm nearly a 5'1" at this point definitely surprised me. Wow! The new thingy I'm learning, but that's a secret for now. I want to know what it is. I wanna know what it is. I wanna know. Guys, I was thinking of warrior cats all week, as well as the other things that were going on. And some of the thoughts that crossed my mind was, maybe I can just read the book and then I can reread it for stream. But then I remembered the feeling I felt when I finished the first book. When I got to the end, when they became warriors, I was like, oh, I was so emotional I almost cried. So I'm like, you know what? I want that emotion. I want that shared emotion in real time. So this is how I'm gonna get it. I never know my height either. Sometimes wish I did. Wait, you don't know your height? Are you guys like still in your like growth spurts? Or are you in your like, are you just like never paid attention? Live no emotions. Exactly. Wham's away. You're 5'3". Aww. I'm taller than you. I'm taller than all of you. I've been growing an inch in 4 years, so yeah. Except Nui. Well, Nui ain't here. Nui ain't here. It's... Can you feel my heart beat fast? I want this to last. Get over the fact that you're... Never known my height for maybe a few moments when I was a little kid. Oh, you should get... When you go to the doctor the next time, you should ask them to weigh... I mean, not weigh you. Measure your height. Warrior Cats was my childhood. I think every time I was required to write a book essay between elementary school... Okay. Every single time since I started reading Warrior Cats and up until, I don't know, grade 10 or something, whenever we had to write like, not an essay, but like, oh, write a story, or like, if it was like a big test or something, like, we had this thing in Canada, provincials, where at certain times, at certain grade years, like in grade, I think it was either 6 or 7, maybe it was 6 and then 8 or something like that. But we would do these provincial things, and they were like, for English, maybe science, and maybe maths. I think it was mostly English is the only ones I remember. But during the English one, they had like reading comprehension and then writing comprehension, and then you had to write like a quote unquote essay about the theme that they give you. And whenever I had to write one of those, I would always write them like Warrior Cat fanfic. Imagine my height. Every time I just never remember, I just didn't really pay attention. Oh, well, next time pay attention. Write it on your hand and then tell me. And then I'll know. Not the fanfic. Yeah, but my writing was... I was so good at writing as a child because all that I was writing was like Warrior Cats. And I was like, oh my god, they're going to be so impressed by my knowledge of writing a cat. This I remember best wasn't one I wrote, but one my sister wrote, which was an essay comparing Napoleon to Sharpay Evans in AP English. I want to read that. You know what? I think it would be so fun to grade like either high school or middle schooler essays. Like just when they have enough like writing skills and enough ability to form opinions and form, you know, like they have enough to actually write essays, not like a big like fancy essay or anything, but an essay. And then I want to read those. She got the highest grade. Cuz they're not going to be like really hard to read, and they'd be like probably pretty entertaining. Did I discover my current height again? I'll have to do some conversation because I use the correct measurement systems. You mean the centimeters? Centimeters or inches? I think technically Canada is supposed to do centimeters, but I never learned that. I have the PDF open. I have it ready. I live in Europe. Of course we use metric. What's the other one called? Metric and Imperial? Yes! I win. I did it. I got it. I used my brain. I made it. I made it work. Also found out I have better than average grades. Barely failing social studies. Wow! I don't remember anything from social studies except for grade 10 when we were studying Waterloo. And every single time I read Waterloo, I said, Waterloo, couldn't escape if I wanted to. That's all what I remember. Oh, I also remember we had to write notes for a social studies class and then like hand them in to like get marked or whatever. And for OneNotes, I kind of like drew this little comic system, and then another notes I like wrote it was about World War I or World War II, and I wrote a story as if they were kids in kindergarten, like, you know, like, oh, Germany pushed so and so down, or you know, like that. Fun fact, the guys who invented Imperial left it behind because it wasn't all that efficient nor standardized compared to metric. I find that there's a lot of inventors that invent things and then they're like, you know what, this sucks, and then they move on, but then people like it so much. Now, if it was World War I or II, pretty important for something like that. I guess so. I mean, I know which. When I was writing it, I knew which one it was. Thinking back on it, I don't know what one it was. But it was one of them. One of them. And that was like one of those things where I didn't need to do that effort. I could have just written normal notes. But I wrote this dang like story. And I remember crying at like midnight because it was due the next day. Or it was like due before the end of the school year, and I hadn't finished writing it yet because it was a ridiculous feat, and I was just crying. I was like, I can't finish this. And that's what happens when you go above and beyond. 8th grade history, we needed to do a map of the American states and a map of Europe. Wish I had knew much history in primary school as I do now. I don't know anything still. Oh yeah! Remember? Have you ever seen like an accurate world map? Because they blew up the size of America, right? We're actually very small. Very small. I'm gonna look it up right now, actually. Accurate world map. Gonna escape before only two. Yeah, this seems more realistic. Usually on like normal maps that we grew up with, it was like America was massive. It's possible to graph a map of the globe in a 2D plane without sacrificing one aspect that would make it more accurate. Oh, that's why while I'm looking this up, some of them are really funny shaped. Because you can't represent a sphere in a flat plane. Old cartography is interesting because maps back then only contained what people knew at the time. Oh, I used to have My grandma used to collect really old maps, like really, really old maps. And then she gave them to me because I wanted to make my wall covered in them. But I didn't know how to do that properly, so I just taped them with like normal masking tape. And they did not fit well. And they kept on falling off, and so it looked really bad. But my idea was big. Back in the days of the Roman Empire, the world of the Romans did open feather. Oh my god, I just got disconnected from my own chat. Unless the flat plane itself is spherical, then we enter the realm of curved. Math. Physics. Is this physics? Geography? I don't know. Anyways, we should begin Warrior Cats. If you thought the world was only as big as the surroundings of the Mediterranean, that would have been crazy. I mean, still sometimes I don't think it clicks in my brain how big the world is, you know? Or how much there is in the world. Or what's going on in other parts of the world. What are we talking about? I went to get frosted flakes. We're talking about the maps of the world and places in the world. Physics and geometry and mathematics. But we're also starting the book now. We're gonna start the book. We gotta start reading. We gotta start. Because the stream is gonna be a little shorter than usual just because I want to dedicate some time after it for the special announcement. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure I don't need to do a summary of the first book because usually in the next book in a series, they kind of do a little remember what happened kind of diddly-do, right? I'm not sure. But I will, okay. I'll summarize it vaguely. Firepaw became a warrior. Previously on Warrior Cats. Firepaw has now become Fireheart, and Greypaw has now become Greystripe. There is no Ravenpaw because Fireheart and Greystripe faked his death because Tiger... What was his name? Oh my god, I forget what his name is. Tiger Stripes? Tiger Fur? Tiger Claw. Tiger Claw! Oh my god. Tiger Claw wanted him dead because he knew the secret. Ravenpaw knew that Tiger Claw actually killed his own deputy and blamed it on the River Clan deputy who was also dead so that there would have been nobody to say anything different. Let's see. Blue Star lied about how many lives she has. She has... How many lives does she have? Does she have 2 lives left? I think she has 2 lives left. Blue Star has 2 lives left. But she only told Fireheart. Fireheart is the only one that knows that she only has 2 hearts left. Spotted Leaf died. She was killed by an attack. And because of that, they were medicine cat lists. But then Yellowfang, who was from Shadow Clan, who was kind of like living in ThunderClan camp for most of the novel, became the medicine cat of ThunderClan. And I think that's pretty much it, right? Oh, WindClan is also missing. WindClan is still missing. Okay. I remember that specifically because of what we're starting right now. This new thing is what we're starting. The prologue. Okay. Prologue. Orange frame. I already messed up. Orange flames lapped at the cold air, throwing sparks up into the night sky. The firelight flickered across a wasteland of ragged grass, making silhouettes of two legs huddled there. A pair of white lights appeared in the distance, hurtling the approaching of a monster. It roared past on a thunder path that rose high into the sky, filling the air with sour fumes. At the edge of the wasteland, a cat moved, its eyes glinting in the shadows. Pointed ears twitched, then flattened against the noise. More cats followed one by one onto the filthy grass. They carried their tails low and sniffed the bitter air with their lips curled. "What if the two legs see us?" hissed one of the cats. A large Tom answered, his eyes like amber discs reflecting the firelight. "They won't. Their night sight is weak." As he padded forward, the flames lit up the black and white fur on his powerful shoulders. He held his long tail straight up, sending a message of courage to his clan. But the other cats crouched low against the grass, trembling. This was a strange place. The noise of the monsters battered their sensitive ear fur, and the acrid stench stung their nostrils. "Tall Star," a gray queen flicked her tail uneasily. "Why have we come here?" The black and white Tom turned to the she-cat. "We've been driven from every place we've tried to settle, Ashfoot. Perhaps we can find some place here," he meowed. "Peace? Here?" Ashfoot echoed in disbelief. She pulled her kit towards her and sheltered it beneath her belly. "With fire and monsters? My kids won't be safe." "But we weren't safe at home," meowed another voice. A black Tom pushed his way forward, limping heavily on a twisted paw. He held Tall Star's amber gaze. "We couldn't protect them from Shadow Clan," he spat. "Not even in our own camp." Anxious yowls rose from some of the cats as they remembered that terrible battle that had driven them from their home in the uplands and to the edge of the forest. A young apprentice wailed, "Broken Star and his warriors may still be hunting us!" The cry alerted one of the two legs around the fire. It stood unsteadily and stared towards the shadows. At once, the cats fell silent, crouching lower. Even Tall Star lowered his tail. The two legs shouted into the darkness and flung something towards them. The missile flew over their heads and exploded in a burst of thorn-sharp pieces on the thunder path behind. Ashfoot flinched as a shard grazed her shoulder, but she stayed silent, curling her body around her terrified kit. "Keep down," hissed Tall Star. The two-leg at the fire spat on the ground, then sat back down. The cats waited a few moments before Tall Star stood up once more. Ashfoot stood too, wincing at the new pain in her shoulder. "Tall Star, I fear for our safety here. And what will we eat? I can't smell any prey." Tall Star stretched his neck and rested his muzzle gently on the queen's head. "I know you're hungry," he meowed, "but we'll be safer here than back in our old territory, or in the two legs fields in the woods. Look at this place. Even Shadow Clan wouldn't follow us here. There's no scent of dogs, and these two legs can hardly stand." He turned to the black and white Tom with twisted paw. "Deadfoot," he ordered, "take one whisker and see if you can find anything to eat. If there are two legs, there must be rats." "Rats?" spat Ashfoot as Deadfoot and a smaller brown tabby bounded away. "That's no better than crow food." "Hush!" hissed a tortoiseshell beside her. "Rat meat is better than starving to death." Ashfoot scowled and dipped her head to lick her kit behind its matted ear. "We must find a new place to settle, Ashfoot," the tortoiseshell went on more gently. "Morningflower needs to rest and eat. Her kits will be born soon. She needs to be strong." The lean shape of Deadfoot and One Whisker emerged from the shadows. "You are right, Tall Star," called Deadfoot. "There are rat scents everywhere, and I think I found somewhere we can shelter." "Show us," ordered Tall Star, gathering the rest of his clan with a flick of his tail. Cautiously, the cats padded across the wasteland after Deadfoot. He led them towards the raised thunder path, the firelight making their shadows loom against its huge stone legs. A monster roared overhead and the ground shook, but even the tiniest kit sensed the need for silence and trembled without crying out. "Here," meowed Deadfoot, stopping beside a round hole, 2 cats high. A black tunnel sloped down into the ground. A constant stream of water trickled into it. "The water's fresh," Deadfoot added. "We'll be able to drink it." "We'll have wet paws days and night," Ashfoot complained. "I've been inside," the Black Tom told her. "There's some space away from the stream. At least we'll be safe from two-legs and monsters." Tallstar stepped forward and lifted his chin. "WindClan has traveled for long enough," he declared. "It's nearly a moon since ShadowClan drove us from our home. The weather is turning colder, and Leaf Bear will be here soon. We have no choice but to stay." Ashfoot narrowed her eyes but said nothing. Silently, she joined her clan as, one by one, they filed into the shadowy tunnel. Were they like... Okay, that sounded like a bunch of homeless people that were drunk, threw a bottle of alcohol at them, or like an empty bottle at them. Probably. What the heck? So rude. And they're like settling in, I'm guessing like either some sort of sewage pipe or like a pipe that... Oh no, it must be like if there's a river and then there's a pipe underneath a bridge to help access that river from going through, you know? But it's like really small pipe. Poor cats. Poor WindClan. Ooh. 1 second. Okay. Chapter 1. Fireheart shivered. His flame-colored fur was still green leaf light. It would be a few moons before it was thick enough to keep out cold like this. He shuffled his forepaws on the hard earth. The sky was finally growing light as dawn crept slowly in. Even though his paws were cold, Fireheart could not suppress a glow of pride. After many moons as an apprentice, he was a warrior at last. Oh, there's a summary. In his mind, he replayed yesterday's victory at the ShadowClan camp. Broken Star's glittering eyes at the ShadowClan... Okay, wait, hold on. In his mind, he replayed yesterday's victory at ShadowClan camp. Broken Star's glittering eyes as the ShadowClan leader backed away, hissing threats before fleeing into the trees after his traitorous companions. The remaining ShadowClan cats had been grateful to ThunderClan for helping them get rid of their cruel leader and for the peace ThunderClan had promised them when they recovered. Broken Star had not just brought chaos to his own clan, he had driven the whole of WindClan from their camp, right out of clan territory. He had been a dark shadow in the forest since before Fireheart had left his kitty pet life to join ThunderClan. But for Fireheart, there was another shadow troubling his mind, Tigerclaw, ThunderClan's deputy. Fireheart shivered as he thought of the great ThunderClan warrior who had terrorized his apprentice, Ravenpaw. In the end, Firepaw and his best friend, Greystripe, had helped the frightened apprentice to escape into two-leg territory beyond the uplands. Afterwards, Fireheart had told the clan that Ravenpaw had been killed by ShadowClan. If what Ravenpaw said about Tigerclaw was true, it was best if the ThunderClan deputy believed his apprentice had died, for he knew a secret Tigerclaw would do anything to conceal. Ravenpaw had told Fireheart that the mighty Tabby warrior had murdered Redtail, the old ThunderClan deputy, in the hope that he would become the new deputy, which, eventually, he had. Fireheart shook his head to clear it of these dark thoughts and turned to glance at Greystripe sitting beside him. Greystripe's thick gray fur was ruffled up against the cold. Fireheart guessed he was looking forward to the first rays of sunshine too, but he didn't say this out loud. Clan tradition demanded silence on this night. This was their vigil, the night when a new warrior guarded the clan and reflected on his new name and status. Until last night, Fireheart had been known by his apprentice name of Firepaw. Halftail was one of the first cats to wake. Fireheart could see the old cat moving around in the shadows of the elder den. He glanced towards the warriors at the other side of the clearing. Through the branches that sheltered the den, he recognized the broad shoulders of Tiger Claw as he slept. At the foot of the high rock, the lichen that draped at the entrance to Blue Star's den twitched, and Fireheart saw his clan leader push her way out. She stopped and lifted her head to sniff the air. Then she padded silently out of High Rock's shadow, her long fur glowing blue-gray in the dawn light. I must warn her about Tiger Claw, thought Fireheart. Blue Star had mourned Redtail's death with the rest of the clan, believing him to have been killed in battle by Oakheart, the deputy of River Clan. Fireheart had hesitated before, knowing how important Tiger Claw was to her, but the danger was too great. Blue Star needed to know that her clan was harboring a cold-blooded murderer. Tiger Claw emerged from the warrior's den and met Blue Star at the edge of the clearing. He murmured something to her, his tail flicking urgently. Fireheart stifled his instinctive meow of greeting. The sky was growing light, but until he knew for sure that the sun was above the horizon, he dared not break his silence. Impatience fluttered in his chest like a trapped bird. He must speak with Blue Star as soon as he could, but for now, all what he could do was nod respectfully at the two cats as they passed. Beside him, Greystar nudged Fireheart and pointed upward with his nose. An orange glow was just visible on the horizon. Glad to see the dawn, you two. Whitestorm's deep meow took Fireheart by surprise. He had not noticed the white warrior approaching. Fireheart and Graystripe nodded together. It's all right. You may speak now. Your vigil is over. Whitestorm's voice was kind. Yesterday he had fought side by side with Fireheart and Graystripe in the battle with Shadow Clan. There was a new respect in his eyes as he looked at them. Thank you, Whitestorm, Fireheart meowed gracefully. He stood and stretched his stiff legs one at a time. Graystripe pushed himself up too. Brrr! He meowed, shaking the chill from his fur. I thought the sun would never come up. A scornful voice mewed from the other side of the apprentice den. The great warrior speaks! It was Sandpaw, her pale orange coat fluffed up with hostility. Dustpaw was sitting beside her. With his dark tabby pelt, he looked like Sandpaw's shadow. He puffed out his chest importantly and mocked. I'm surprised such heroes even feel the cold. Shadowpaw purred with amusement. Whitestorm shot them a stern look. Go and find something to eat, then rest. He ordered Fireheart and Graystripe. The older warrior turned away and padded towards the apprentice's den. Come on, you two, he meowed to Sandpaw and Dustpaw. It's time for your training. They're so jealous. I hope he has them chasing blue squirrels all day, Graystripe hissed to Fireheart as they headed towards the corner where a few pieces of fresh kill remained from last night. But there aren't any blue squirrels, Fireheart mewed in confusion. Precisely, Graystripe. Graystripe's amber eyes gleamed. You can't exactly blame them. They did begin their training before us, Fireheart pointed out mildly. If they'd fought in the battle yesterday, they'd probably have been made warriors too. I suppose, Graystripe shrugged. Hey, look! They'd reached the fresh kill pile. 1 mouse each, and a chaffin's chair. The two friends picked up their meal and looked at each other. Graystripe's eyes suddenly sparkled with delight. I suppose we take it to the warrior side of camp now, he meowed. I suppose we do, Fireheart purred, padding after his friend to the patch of nettles that they had often watched Whitestorm, Tiger Claw, and the other warriors share their fresh kill. Now what? Asked Graystripe, gulping down his last mouthful. I don't know about you, but I think I could sleep for half a moon. Me too, Fireheart agreed. The two friends got to their paws and made their way towards the warrior's den. Fireheart stuck his head through the low-hanging branches. Mousefur and Longtail were still asleep on the other side of the den. He pushed his way inside and found a patch of moss at the edge. The smell told him it wasn't a sleeping place already used by another warrior. Graystripe settled down beside him. Fireheart listened, and Graystripe's steady breaths relaxed into long, muffled snores. Fireheart felt equally exhausted, but he was still desperate to talk to Blue Star. From where he lay, his head flat to the earth, he could just see the camp entrance. He stared at it, waiting for his leader's return, but gradually his eyes began to close, and he gave in to his longing for sleep. Fireheart could hear roaring around him, like a wind in tall trees. The acrid stench of the Thunderpass stung his nostrils, together with a new smell sharper and more terrifying. Fire! Flames lapped at the black sky, throwing glowing cinders up into a starless night. To Fireheart's amazement, silhouettes of cats flitted in front of the fire. Why hadn't they run away? One of them stopped and looked straight at Fireheart. The Tom's night eyes glinted in the darkness, and he lifted his long, straight tail as if in greeting. Fireheart trembled as a memory burst into his mind at the words that Spotted Leaf, the former ThunderClan medicine cat, had said to him before her untimely death. Fire will save the clan. Could it be something to do with the strange cats that showed no fear of fire? Wake up, Fireheart! Oh, wake up, Fireheart! Fireheart flicked up his head, startled out of his dream by Tiger Claw's growl. You were mewing in your sleep. Still dazed, Fireheart sat up and shook his head. Yes, Tiger Claw. With a pang of alarm, he wondered if he had repeated Spotted Leaf's words out loud. He had dreamed like this before, dreams so vivid that he could taste them, and which had later come true. Fireheart certainly did not want Tiger Claw to suspect him of having powers that usually StarClan gave only to a medicine cat. Moonlight shone through the leafy den wall. Fireheart realized he must have slept through the whole day. You and Graystripe will join the evening patrol, Tiger Claw told him. Hurry up! The dark tabby turned and stalked out of the den. Fireheart let the fur relax on his shoulders. Clearly Tiger Claw didn't suspect anything unusual about his dream, but while Fireheart's secret was safe, he was equally determined to expose the murderous truth about Tiger Claw's role in Redtail's death. Fireheart licked his lips. Graystripe lay beside him, washing his flank. They had just finished sharing a meal beside the camp clearing. The sun had set and Fireheart could see the moon, almost full now, gleaming in the cold, clear sky. The past few days had been busy. It seemed that every time they lay down for a rest, Tiger Claw sent them out on patrol or a hunting mission. Fireheart had stayed alert, looking for a chance to talk with Blue Star alone, but when he wasn't on one of Tiger Claw's missions, the ThunderClan leader always seemed to have her deputy at her side. Fireheart began to wash his paw, his eyes flickering around the camp, searching hopefully for Blue Star. What are you looking for? Meowed Graystripe through a tongueful of fur. Blue Star, Fireheart answered, lowering his paw. Why? Graystripe stopped washing and looked up at his friend. You've had one eye on her since our vigil. What are you planning to do? I have to tell her where Ravenpaw is and warn her about Tiger Claw, Fireheart meowed. You promised Ravenpaw you'd tell him they were dead. You promised Ravenpaw you'd tell them he was dead, Graystripe sounded amazed. I only promised to tell Tiger Claw he was dead. Blue Star should know the whole story. She needs to know what her deputy is capable of. Graystripe lowered his voice to an urgent hiss. But we only have Ravenpaw's word that Tiger Claw killed Redtail. You don't believe him? Fireheart couldn't help feeling shocked by his friend's doubt. Look, if Tiger Claw lied about killing Oakheart in revenge for Redtail's death, that means Redtail must have killed Oakheart himself. And I can't believe that Redtail would have deliberately killed another clan deputy in battle. It goes against the warrior code. We fight to prove our strength and defend our territory, not to kill each other. But I'm not trying to make accusations against Redtail, Fireheart protested. It's Tiger Claw who's the problem. Redtail had been the ThunderClan deputy before Tiger Claw. Fireheart had never met him, but he knew Redtail had been deeply respected by all the clan. Graystripe didn't meet Fireheart's gaze. What you are saying has implications for Redtail's honor, and none of the other cats have a problem with Tiger Claw. It was only Ravenpaw who was scared of him. An uneasy shiver ran down Fireheart's spine. So you think Ravenpaw made up a story because he didn't get along with his mentor? He meowed scornfully. No, mumbled Graystripe. I just think we should be careful. Fireheart looked into his friend's worried eyes and began to wonder. He supposed Graystripe did have a point. They had been warriors for only a few days, so they were in no position to start hurling accusations at the clan's most senior warrior. It's okay, Fireheart meowed at last. You can stay out of it. A twinge of regret flickered in his belly as Graystripe nodded and returned to washing. Fireheart believed that Graystripe was wrong to think it was only Ravenpaw who had a problem with Tiger Claw. Fireheart's own instincts told him that the ThunderClan deputy should not be trusted. He had to share his suspicion with Blue Star, for her safety and for the safety of the clan. A glimpse of gray fur on the other side of the clearing told Fireheart that Blue Star had emerged from her den, alone. He scrambled to his paws, but the ThunderClan leader leaped straight up to the high rock and called to the clan. Fireheart lashed his tail impatiently. Graystripe's ears flicked excitedly as he heard Blue Star's call. A naming ceremony? He meowed. It must be Longtail getting his first apprentice. He's been dropping hints for days. He bounded over to join the cats gathering at the edge of the clearing, and, still itching with frustration, Fireheart followed. A small black and white kit padded into the clearing, his paws soft. His paws made no sound to the hard earth. He walked towards the high rock with his pale eyes lowered, and Fireheart almost expected to see him tremble. There was something in the slope of the kit's shoulders that made him seem too young and timid to be an apprentice. Longtail won't be impressed, Fireheart thought, remembering Longtail's scorn when Fireheart had arrived at camp for the first time. The warrior had taunted him viciously on his first day with the clan, mocking his kitty pet origins. Fireheart had disliked him ever since. From this day forward, Bluestar meowed, staring down at the kit, until he has earned his warrior name, this apprentice will be called Swiftpaw. There was no flash of determination in the eyes of the black and white kit as he looked up at his leader. Instead, his amber eyes were wide with anxiety. Fireheart turned his head as Longtail padded towards his new apprentice. Bluestar spoke again. Longtail, you were Darkstripe's apprentice. He taught you well, and you have become fierce and loyal warrior. I hope you will pass some of these qualities on to Swiftpaw. Fireheart searched Longtail's face for an expression of disdain as he looked down at Swiftpaw, but the warrior's eyes softened as he met the new apprentice's gaze, and gently the two clan cats touched noses. It's okay, you're doing fine, Longtail murmured encouragingly. Yeah, right, Fireheart thought bitterly. Just because he's clan-born, Longtail sure didn't welcome me like that. He glanced around at the rest of the clan and felt a pang of resentment as they began to murmur congratulations to the new apprentice. What's up with you? Whispered Graystripe. That'll be us one day. Fireheart nodded, suddenly cheered up at the thought of getting his own apprentice, and pushed away his resentment. He was part of ThunderClan now, and surely that was all that mattered? The next night brought the full moon. Fireheart knew he should be looking forward to his first gathering as a warrior, but he was still determined to find a chance to tell Bluestar everything he knew about Tigerclaw, and the thought of it lay like a cold stone in his stomach. Have you got maggot gut or something? Meowed Graystripe beside him. You're pulling some very weird faces. Fireheart looked at his friend, wishing he could confide in him, but he'd promised to leave Graystripe out of it. I'm fine, he meowed. Come on, I hear Bluestar calling. The two cats trotted over to the group assembling in the clearing. Bluestar dipped her head to acknowledge their arrival. Then she turned and led the cats out of camp. Fireheart paused while the other cats scrambled past him up the steep trail that led to the forest above. This journey might give him just enough time to speak to Bluestar, and he wanted to gather his thoughts. Are you coming? Graystripe's voice called down. Yep! It's a typo. They wrote Firepaw instead of Fireheart. Fireheart flexed his powerful hind legs and began to leap from boulder to boulder, leaving the camp behind. At the top, he paused to catch his breath, his sides heaving. The forest stretched away before him. Beneath his paws, he could feel the crisp crackle of newly fallen leaves. Silver pelt glittered in the sky like morning dews scattered on black fur. Fireheart thought of his first journey to the four trees with Tigerclaw and Lionheart, and he felt a pang of sadness as he remembered Lionheart, Graystripe's mentor and ThunderClan's deputy between Redtail and Tigerclaw, had been warm-hearted, golden warrior. He'd been killed in battle, and Tigerclaw had taken his place. On Fireheart's first visit to the four trees, Lionheart had taken the apprentices on a roundabout route, through tall pines, past sunning rocks, and along the RiverClan border. Tonight, Bluestar would lead them straight through the heart of ThunderClan territory. Fireheart could see her already disappearing into the undergrowth, and he charged after the party of cats. Bluestar was at the front, next to Tigerclaw. Fireheart ignored Graystripe's surprised meow and caught up with the leader. Bluestar, he called, panting, as he drew up beside her. May I talk with you? Bluestar glanced at him and nodded. Take the lead, Tigerclaw, she meowed. She let her pace slow, and Tigerclaw bounded past her. The other cats followed the dark tabby without question as he raced on through the undergrowth. Bluestar and Fireheart. I have to get used to these names again. Oh my goodness. Bluestar and Fireheart dropped into a steady trot. Within a moment, they were alone. The path emerged from the thick ferns into a small clearing. Bluestar leaped into a fallen tree and sat down, curling her tail over her paws. What is it, Fireheart? She meowed. Fireheart hesitated, suddenly struck by doubt. Bluestar was the cat who had encouraged him to leave his kitty pet life and join the clan. Since then, she had trusted him time and time again when other cats had questioned his loyalty to the clan whose blood he didn't share. What would she say when Fireheart told her that he had lied about Ravenpaw? Speak, Bluestar ordered as the paw steps of other ThunderClan cats faded into the distance. Fireheart took a deep breath. Ravenpaw is not dead. Bluestar's tail twitched in surprise, but she listened silently as Fireheart continued. Graystripe and I took him to WindClan's hunting grounds. I think he may have joined Barley. Barley was a loner. Not a forest cat, but not a kitty pet either. He lived on the two-leg farm that lay on the route to the High Stones, a sacred place for all cats in the forest. The ThunderClan leader stared past Fireheart into the depths of the forest. Fireheart searched her face anxiously, trying to read her expression. Was she angry? But he could see no anger in her wide blue eyes. After several long moments, Bluestar spoke. I'm glad to hear that Ravenpaw is still alive. I hope he is happier living with Barley than he was in the forest. But he was born into ThunderClan, Fireheart stammered, taken aback by his leader's calm acceptance of Ravenpaw's departure. That doesn't necessarily mean he was suited for clan life, Bluestar pointed out. After all, you aren't clan-born, yet you've become a fine warrior. Ravenpaw may find his true path elsewhere. But he didn't leave ThunderClan because he wanted to, Fireheart protested. It was impossible for him to stay. Impossible? Bluestar rested her blue gaze on him. What do you mean? Fireheart looked down at the ground. Well, Bluestar prompted. Fireheart's mouth was dry. Ravenpaw knew a secret about Tigerclaw, he croaked. I think Tigerclaw was planning to kill him, or else turn the clan against him. Bluestar's tail flickered from side to side, and Fireheart saw her shoulders stiffen. Why would you think that? What was the secret that Ravenpaw knew? Fireheart answered reluctantly, meeting her stern expression as boldly as he dared. The Tigerclaw killed Redtail in the battle with RiverClan. Redtail had been the ThunderClan deputy before Lionheart. Fireheart had never met him, but he knew Redtail had been deeply respected by all the clan. Bluestar's eyes narrowed. A warrior would never kill another of his clan. Even you should know that. You've lived with us long enough. Fireheart recoiled at her words, flattening his ears. It was the second time tonight she'd referred to his kitty pet roots. Bluestar went on. Tigerclaw reported that it was RiverClan's deputy, Oakheart, who killed Redtail, she meowed. Ravenpaw must be mistaken. Did he actually see Tigerclaw kill Redtail? Fireheart nervously flicked his tail, stirring the leaves behind him. He said he did. And you know that by saying this, you are questioning Redtail's honor, because he must have been the cat that was responsible for Oakheart's death. One deputy would never kill another in battle, not if it could possibly be avoided. And Redtail was the most honorable warrior I have ever known. Bluestar's eyes clouded with pain, and Fireheart felt a pang of dismay as that he should have hurt her memory of her former deputy, even if unintentionally. I cannot account for Redtail's actions, he murmured. I only know that Ravenpaw truly believes Tigerclaw was responsible for Redtail's death. Bluestar sighed and relaxed her shoulders. Well, we all know that Ravenpaw has a vivid imagination, she meowed gently, her eyes sympathetic. He was badly injured in the battle, and he left before the fighting was over. Can you be sure he didn't fill in the parts he'd missed? Before Fireheart could reply, a yowl echoed through the forest. and Tiger Claw bounded out of the undergrowth. His eyes flickered suspiciously over Fireheart for a moment before he addressed Bluestar. Win for you at the border. Bluestar nodded. Tell them we'll be there in a moment. Tiger Claw dipped his head, turned, and raced back through the ferns. As Fireheart watched him disappear, Bluestar's words echoed in his mind. She was right. Ravenpaw did have a strong imagination. Fireheart remembered his first gathering, when the apprentices from every clan had hung on Ravenpaw's words that he described the battle with RiverClan, and he hadn't mentioned Tiger Claw then. Fireheart jumped up as Bluestar stood. Are you gonna bring Ravenpaw back to the clan? He asked, suddenly afraid he had caused even more trouble for his friend. Bluestar gazed deep into Fireheart's eyes. He is probably happier where he is, she meowed quietly. For now, we will let the clan carry on believing he's dead. Fireheart stared back at her, his eyes wide with shock. Bluestar was gonna lie to the clan. Tiger Claw is a great warrior, but he is very proud, Bluestar went on. It'll be easier for him to accept that his apprentice died in battle rather than ran away. And it would be better for Ravenpaw, too. Because Tiger Claw might go looking for him? Fireheart dared to ask. Was it possible that Bluestar believed him, even just a little bit? Bluestar shook her head with a flash of impatience. No. Tiger Claw might be ambitious, but he is not a murderer. Ravenpaw will be better remembered as a dead hero than a live coward. Tiger Claw's call sounded again, and Bluestar jumped down from the log and disappeared into the ferns. Fireheart cleared the tree trunk in one leap and raced after his leader. He caught up with her at the edge of a stream. He watched while she crossed, jumping from stone to the other side. Fireheart followed carefully, his mind whirling. The knowledge about Redtail's death had been resting heavily on his shoulders for days. Now he had finally told Bluestar, but nothing had changed. The clan leader clearly didn't think Tiger Claw was capable of cold-blood murder. And worst of all, Fireheart himself had begun to doubt whether Ravenpaw had been telling the truth. He leaped into the far bank and charged on through the undergrowth. Fireheart skidded to a halt behind Bluestar as they reached the other ThunderClan cats. The group had paused at the top of the slope that led down to the 4 trees, the giant oaks where the cats from 4 clans of the forest met in peace at each full moon. Fireheart's fur prickled as he felt Tiger Claw watching him. Did the Dark Warrior suspect what he had passed between him and Bluestar? Fireheart shook his head to clear his mind and tried to think like Bluestar. Of course Tiger Claw would be interested in what Fireheart had said to Bluestar. He was the clan deputy, so he would want to know everything that might affect the clan. Fireheart looked at Tiger Claw. The dark tabby was staring down the slope, his eyes pricked in alert. The cats around him shuffled their paws in anticipation. Tiger Claw glanced at each of them, silently rallying them in his steady amber gaze. Bluestar lifted her nose and sniffed the air. Fireheart sensed a tightening of muscles and prickling of fur around him. Then Bluestar signaled with a flick of her tail, and the ThunderClan cats plunged down the slope towards the gathering. Chapter 2. Oh my god, I'm so out of practice of reading. I'm so out of practice. And like stumbling over these names. The names are so hard. I think it's because they don't naturally flow together, like Fireheart and Graystripe. It's weird. It feels weird in my mouth. Bluestar. Swiftpaw brings back memories. The name Swiftpaw brings back memories, but I can't remember what for. I can't remember what Swiftpaw was / is / did. Hi, Jay! Okay. Yeah. We'll see soon, probably. Maybe. Okay. Thank you for the hydrate. Chapter 2. But it, wait, I think I remember. I hope I'm remembering it wrong. Okay. Chapter 2. Bluestar halted at the edge of the clearing with her clan lined up beside her. Some of the cats from the River Clan and Shadow Clan turned and acknowledged their arrival. Where'd you disappear to? Graystripe appeared at Fireheart's shoulder. Fireheart shook his head. Doesn't matter. He was still troubled and confused by his conversation with Bluestar, and felt glad when Graystripe didn't press him, turning his head instead to peer around the clearing. Hey, look! He meowed. The Shadow Clan cats are looking stronger than I thought they would. After all, Broken Star left them half-starved. Fireheart followed his gaze to a sleek Shadow Clan warrior. You're right, he agreed, surprised. Mind you, we did do most of the fighting for them, scoffed Graystripe. Fireheart's amused purr was interrupted by Whitestorm. The Shadow Clan cats fought as hard as we did to chase out Broken Star. We should honor their determination to recover, he meowed sternly, before padding over to a group of warriors gathered beneath the great oaks. Whoops! Meowed Graystripe with a guilty glance at Fireheart. The young warriors stayed at the edge of the clearing. Fireheart could easily pick out the apprentices from the other clans. Their fur looked kit-soft, their faces round, and their paws plump and clumsy. Two warriors approached Graystripe and Fireheart. A small brown apprentice tagged after them. Fireheart recognized the gray tabby Tom from Shadow Clan, but not the smoky black Tom who walked with him. Hi! Meowed the gray Tom. Hello, Wetfoot, replied Fireheart. He glanced at the dark brown cat. Wetfoot meowed. This is Black Claw of River Clan. Graystripe and Fireheart nodded their greeting. The apprentices stepped timidly forward. And this is my apprentice, Oakpaw, added Wetfoot. Oakpaw, oh my gosh, these names. Oakpaw looked at Fireheart with wide, anxious eyes. Hi, Fireheart, he mewed. Fireheart nodded his head in greeting. I hear Bluestar made you warriors after the battle, meowed Wetfoot. Congratulations! It must have been a cold vigil. It was, Graystripe agreed. Who's that? Fireheart broke in. A sleek she-cat with molted brown pelt had caught his attention. She was sharing words with Tigerclaw beside the great rock that stood at the center of the clearing. That's leopard fur, I gave him Graystripe's voice. That's leopard fur, our deputy, growled the River Clan warrior. Fireheart's fur stiffened as he thought about the previous River Clan deputy, Oakheart, and how he had died in battle with ThunderClan. He was saved from having to say anything by Bluestar's bounding onto the top of the rock to start the meeting. The two other cats joined her, and one of them, an elderly black Tom, sounded the call for all cats to gather beneath the rock. Fireheart recognized the black Tom, but couldn't help feeling suspicious. Had old Nightpelt become Shadow Clan's leader since Broken Star had fled? When the cats had settled in front of the great rock, Bluestar spoke. ThunderClan brings to this gathering their new medicine cat, Yellowfang, she announced formally. She paused while all eyes turned to the old she-cat with thick fur and flattened muzzle. Fireheart noticed her shuffle her hunches on the hard ground. Early in his apprenticeship, he had spent almost a whole moon nursing the she-cat back to health after she had come to ThunderClan camp. Now he could tell by the way her right ear twisted slightly that she was uncomfortable under the gaze of the other clans. Yellowfang had been medicine cat to Shadow Clan, and cats hardly ever left one clan to join another. She looked around the crowd slowly until she met the gaze of Runny Nose, Shadow Clan's new medicine cat. There was a brief pause, then they exchanged a respectful nod. Yellowfang's ears straightened and Fireheart relaxed. Bluestar spoke again. We also bring two newly named warriors, Fireheart and Graystripe. Fireheart held his head high, but as he felt all eyes turned to look at him, a surge of self-consciousness made his tail flick nervously. Nightpelt stepped forward, brushing past Bluestar to stand on the highest part of the rock. I, Nightpelt, have taken over leadership of Shadow Clan, he announced. Our former leader, Broken Star, broke the warrior code and we were forced to chase him out. No mention of the fact we helped them do it, Graystripe whispered to Fireheart. Nightpelt continued. The spirits of our ancestors have spoken to Runny Nose and chosen me as leader. I have not yet traveled to the Mother Mouth to receive StarClan's gift of 9 lives, but I will make this journey tomorrow night when the moon is still full. After my vigil at the Moonstone, I shall be known as Night Star. That's a cool name. Where Face Broken Star now! Called a voice from the crowd. It was Frostfur, the White ThunderClan queen. I think we can assume that he has left the forest with the other banished warriors. He knows it would be dangerous for him to try to return, answered Nightpelt. I hope so, Fireheart heard Frostfur murmur to her neighbor, a plump brown queen. RiverClan's leader, Crooked Star, stepped forward. Let's hope Broken Star has the sense to leave the forest for good. His greed for territory threatened us all. Crooked Star waited for the yowls of agreement to die down before he went on. While Broken Star was ShadowClan's leader, I allowed him to hunt in our river, but now ShadowClan has a new leader, and this agreement can no longer stand. The prey in our river belongs to RiverClan alone. Mews of triumph rose from the other RiverClan cats, but Fireheart saw with a feeling of alarm that Nightpelt was bristling. Nightpelt raised his voice. ShadowClan has the same needs as it did under Broken Star. We have many mouths to feed, Crooked Star. You made an agreement with the whole of ShadowClan. Crooked Star leaped to his paws and turned on Nightpelt. He flattened his ears and hissed, and the cats below fell silent. Quickly, Blue Star stepped between the two leaders. ShadowClan has suffered many losses recently, she mewed softly. With fewer mouths to feed, Nightpelt, do you really need RiverClan's fish? Crooked Star hissed again, but Nightpelt held his gaze without flinching. Blue Star spoke again, this time more forcefully. You have just driven out your leader and several of your strongest warriors. And Broken Star went against the warrior code when he forced Crooked Star to agree to share the river. Fireheart swallowed uneasily as he noticed Nightpelt unsheath his claws, but Blue Star didn't blink. Her icy blue gaze glinted in the moonlight, and she growled, Remember, you have not even received your 9 lives from StarClan. Are you so confident that you can make these demands? Fireheart tensed as he felt the bristling of fur around him. The whole crowd was waiting for Nightpelt's response. Nightpelt looked away angrily. His tail flicked from side to side, but he said nothing. Blue Star had won. Her voice softened. We all know ShadowClan has suffered much these past few moons, she meowed. ThunderClan has agreed to leave you in peace until you have had the time to recover. She turned her gaze on Crooked Star. I am sure the Crooked Star will agree to show you the same respect. Crooked Star narrowed his eyes and nodded, but only as long as ShadowClan is not scented in our territory, he growled. Fireheart relaxed, letting the fur lie flat on his shoulders. Now that he knew what it was like to fight in a real battle, he admired his leader's courage even more in challenging these two great warriors. Muffled mews of relief and agreement sounded in the crowd as tension at the great rock suddenly eased. You won't scent us, Crooked Star, meowed Nightpelt. Blue Star was right. We don't need your fish. After all, we have uploads to hunt in now that WindClan have left their territory. Crooked Star looked at Nightpelt, his eyes brightening. That's true, he agreed. This will mean extra prey for all of us. Blue Star drew up her head sharply. No! WindClan must return. Crooked Star and Nightpelt turned to the ThunderClan leader. Why? As Crooked Star, if we share WindClan's hunting ground, it will mean more food for all our kits, Nightpelt pointed out. The forest needs 4 clans, Blue Star insisted. Just as we have 4 trees and 4 seasons, StarClan has given us 4 clans. We must find WindClan as soon as possible and bring them home. The ThunderClan cats raised their voices in support of their leader. But Crooked Star's impatient yowl rose above them. Your argument is weak, Blue Star. Do you really need 4 seasons? Wouldn't you rather go without Leaf Bear and the cold and hunger it brings? Blue Star looked calmly at the warriors beside her. StarClan gave us Leaf Bear to let the earth recover and prepare us for New Leaf. This forest and the uplands have supported 4 clans for generations. It is not up to us to challenge StarClan. Leopardfur, the RiverClan deputy, spoke up. Why should we go hungry for the sake of a clan that can't even defend its own territory? She yelled. Blue Star is right. WindClan must return. Tigerclaw spat back, drawing himself up so he towered above the cats around him. Blue Star spoke again. Crooked Star, she meowed, turning to the RiverClan leader. RiverClan's hunting grounds are known for their richness. You have the river and all the fish it contains. Why do you need extra prey? Crooked Star looked away and didn't answer. Fireheart noticed how RiverClan murmured anxiously among themselves. He wondered why Bluestar's question had ruffled their fur. And Nightpelt, Bluestar went on. It was Brokenstar who drove WindClan from their home. The broad-shouldered she-cat paused. This is why ThunderClan helped you chase him out. Fireheart narrowed his eyes. He knew that Bluestar was gently reminding Nightpelt of the debt he owed to ThunderClan. The ShadowClan leader half closed his eyes. After a silence that felt like an age, Nightpelt opened his eyes wide and meowed. Very well, Bluestar. We will allow WindClan to return. Fireheart saw Crookedstar turn his head away in anger, his eyes black slits. Bluestar nodded. 2 of us have agreed, Crookedstar, she meowed. WindClan must be found and brought home. Until then, no clan should hunt in their territory. The gathering began to break up as the cats prepared to travel back to their camps. Fireheart stayed where he was for a moment, watching the leaders on the great rock. Bluestar touched noses with Crookedstar and jumped down to the forest floor. On the rock, Crookedstar turned to Nightpelt. There was something about the look that had passed between them that made Fireheart's fur prickle. Could it be that Bluestar did not really have Nightpelt's support after all? Fireheart looked quickly around. He could tell from the anger in Tigerclaw's eyes that the ThunderClan deputies had not missed this exchange either. For once, Fireheart shared Tigerclaw's concern. This was a shift in clan alliances he had not expected. After the risk ThunderClan had taken by helping ShadowClan to drive out Brokenstar, how could they side with RiverClan now? Dun dun dun! Congrats, Kono! Chapter 3! Whew. Chapter 3. Wait, no, I need a drink. Gotta get a little drinky. Thank you. Oh god, I choked. Chapter 3. Bluestar led the way swiftly back to camp. The noises of their return awoke the cats who had remained behind. As the group streamed through the gorse entrance, sleepy figures began emerging from the dens. What's the news? Called Halftail. Were ShadowClan there? Asked Willowpelt. Yes, they were, Bluestar replied gravely. She strode past Willowpelt and leapt up onto the high rock. There was no need for her customary call for a clan meeting. The cats were already gathered below the rock. Tigerclaw jumped up beside her. There was much tension between the clans tonight, Bluestar began, and I became aware of a possible new allegiance between Crookedstar and Nightpelt. Graystripe squeezed into the small space next to Fireheart. What are they talking about? He asked. I thought Nightpelt agreed with Bluestar. Nightpelt? Oh. Nightpelt! Croaked One Eye's ancient voice from the back of the crowd. He has been named as ShadowClan's new leader, Bluestar explained. But his name? Hasn't he been accepted by StarClan yet? Asked One Eye. He plans to travel to the Moonstone tomorrow night, Tigerclaw told him. No leader can speak for their clan at the gathering without receiving StarClan's approval first, muttered One Eye, loudly enough for all the cats to hear. He has the support of ShadowClan, One Eye, answered Bluestar, nodding at the old she-cat. We cannot ignore what he has said tonight. One Eye gave a disgruntled sniff, and Bluestar lifted her head to address the whole clan. At the gathering, I suggested we find WindClan and bring them home, but Crookedstar and Nightpelt don't want them to return. They're hardly likely to join forces, though, are they? Called Graystripe. They almost had a scrap over hunting rights in the river. Fireheart turned to his friend. Didn't you see the looks they were swapping at the end of the meeting? They're both desperate to get their paws on WindClan territory. But why? Asked Sandpaw, who was sitting beside her mentor, Whitestorm. Whitestorm answered her. I suspect ShadowClan is not as weak as we thought they would be, and Nightpelt seemed to be more ambitious than any cat expected. But why does RiverClan want hunt on WindClan's grounds? They have grown fat on the fish in their precious river, yowled Willowpelt. The uplands are a long way to go for a few windblown rabbits. The once beautiful queen, Dappletail, spoke up. in a voice cracked with age. At the gathering, some of RiverClan elders spoke of Two Legs taking over part of the river. That's right, added Frostfur. They say Two Legs have been living in shelters beside the river, disturbing the fish. The RiverClan cats have to hide in the bushes and watch them with empty stomachs. Bluestar looked thoughtfully. For now, we must be careful to do nothing that may bring ShadowClan and RiverClan closer together. Go and rest now. Running Wing and Dustpaw, you will take the dawn patrol. A cold breeze rattled the dying leaves on the trees overhead. The cats, still murmuring amongst themselves, went into their dens. For the second night in a row, Fireheart dreamed. He was standing in the dark. The roar and the stench of the thunderclap was very close by. Fireheart felt himself buffeted and blinded by the monsters that roared up and down with glaring eyes. Suddenly, through the din, Fireheart heard the pitiful cries of a young cat. The desperate wail sliced through the thundering of the monsters. Fireheart woke with a start. For a moment, he thought that the cry had woken him. But the only noise was the muffled snores of warriors sleeping beside him. A growl came from somewhere near the middle of the den. It sounded like Tiger Claw. Fireheart felt too unsettled to go back to sleep, so he crept silently out of the den. It was dark outside, and the stars dotted the black sky told him that dawn was still far off. With the wail of the young cat echoing in his mind, Fireheart padded over to the nursery. His ears pricked. He could hear paw steps beyond the camp wall. He sniffed the air. It was just Darkstripe and Longtail. Fireheart picked up their scents as they guarded ThunderClan's territory. The calm of the sleeping cat soothed Fireheart. Every cat must have nightmares about the Thunderpath, he told himself. He crept back into the den and circled comfortably back into his nest. Greystrup purred briefly in his sleep as Fireheart settled beside him and closed his eyes. I like to imagine all this happened in a wooded area no bigger than 5 or 6 kilometers in diameter. Just this little clearing. Greystripe's nose woke him, prodding his side. Leave me alone, Fireheart grumbled. Wake up, Greystripe hissed. Why? We're not on patrol, Fireheart complained. Bluestar wants to see us in her den, now. Fuzzy-headed, Fireheart scrambled to his paws and followed Greystripe out of the den. The sun was beginning to turn the sky pink, and there was frost on the trees around the camp. The two cats bounded across the clearing to Bluestar's den and announced their arrival with hushed mews. Enter! It was Tiger Claw's voice that answered from behind the draped lichen. Alarm swept through Fireheart as he remembered his conversation with Bluestar on the way to the gathering. Had she told Tiger Claw about his accusations? Greystripe pushed his way into Bluestar's den. Fireheart followed him uneasily. Bluestar was sitting in her nest, her head up and her eyes bright. Tiger Claw stood in the middle of the smooth sandstone floor. Fireheart tried to read his expression, but the great tabby's eyes were as cold and steady as ever. Bluestar began at once. Fireheart, Greystripe, I have an important mission for you. A mission? Fireheart echoed. Relief and excitement swept away his anxiety. I want you to find WindClan and bring them back to their territory, announced Bluestar. Before you get too excited, bear in mind this could be very dangerous, Tiger Claw growled. We don't know where WindClan has gone, so we have to follow what's left of their scent, probably in hostile territory. But you have been through WindClan territory when you two traveled with me to Moonstone, Bluestar pointed out. Their scents will be familiar, as will the Two-Leg territory beyond the uplands. Will it be just us? Asked Fireheart. Our other warriors are needed here, yelled Tiger Claw. Leaf Bear is coming, and we need to gather as much fresh kill as possible. Many prey-poor moons lie ahead. Bluestar nodded. Tiger Claw will help you prepare for the journey. Fireheart paws prickled with unease. Bluestar had as much faith in her deputy as ever. Why was Fireheart the only cat in ThunderClan who didn't trust Tiger Claw? You must leave as soon as possible, Bluestar continued. Good luck. We'll find him, Greystripe promised. Dragging his thoughts back to the journey ahead, Fireheart nodded. Tiger Claw followed them out of Bluestar's den. Do you remember how to get to WindClan territory? Oh, yes, Tiger Claw. We were there only... Fireheart interrupted Greystripe's eager reply. Only a few moons ago, he meowed quickly. He flashed a warning glare at his friend. Greystripe had almost given away their journey several nights earlier with Ravenpaw. Tigerclaw hesitated. Fireheart held his breath. Had he noticed Greystripe's mistake? And you can recall WindClan's scent? The deputy meowed. Fireheart sent silent thanks to StarClan. The young warriors nodded, and Fireheart began to picture himself charging through the prickly gorse of the uphills in search of the lost clan. You will need herbs for strength to keep your hunger away. Fetch them from Yellowfang before you leave. Tigerclaw paused. And don't forget that Nightpelt is planning to travel to the Moonstone tonight. Keep well out of his way. Yes, Tigerclaw, replied Fireheart. He'll never know we're out there, Greystripe assured him. As I would expect, meowed Tigerclaw. Now go! Without another word, he turned and bounded away. You might have wished us good luck, Greystripe complained. He probably thinks we don't need it, joked Fireheart as they crossed the clearing towards Yellowfang's den. But at the same time, he reflected, Tigerclaw seemed to be threatening them with as much respect as he would any warrior, or treating them with as much respect as he would any warrior. Was it possible that he wasn't the traitor that Ravenpaw thought? It was still cold, despite the rising sun, but neither cat shivered. Fireheart could feel his fur beginning to thicken as the days grew shorter. Yellowfang's den lay at the end of the tunnel under ferns. A large split rock stood in the corner of a small shaded glade. Spotted Leaf had lived here before Yellowfang. The memory of the gentle tortoiseshell medicine cat tugged at Fireheart's heart. Spotted Leaf had been killed by a Shadow Clan warrior. He missed her desperately. Yellowfang! Greystripe called. We've come for traveling herbs. The two cats heard a hoarse meow from the shadow at the center of the rock, and Yellowfang squeezed out of a crack. Where are you going? That wasn't her voice. Where are you going? She asked. We've got to go find WindClan and bring them home, Fireheart told her, unable to hide the pride in his voice. Your first warrior's mission, rasped Yellowfang. Congratulations! I'll fetch the herbs you will need. She returned a few moments later, carrying a small bundle of dried leaves in her mouth. Enjoy, she purred, laying them on the ground. Fireheart and Greystripe chewed obediently on the unappetizing leaves. Yuck! Spat Greystripe. Just as bad as last time. Fireheart nodded, screwing up his face. Spotted Leaf had given them the same herbs when they journeyed with Bluestar to the Moonstone. Greystripe swallowed the last mouthful and nudged Fireheart with his nose. Come on, Slow Slug, let's get going. Bye, he called to Yellowfang over his shoulder as he sprinted out of the glade. Wait for me, meowed Fireheart, chasing after his friend. Goodbye, good luck, youngsters, Yellowfang meowed after them. As he raced through the tunnel, Fireheart heard the ferns rustling in the morning breeze. They seemed to be whispering, Good luck, travel safely. Chopped up a Leaf, what do they call the season? Leaf, hold on. I think there's a thesaurus of some. No, that's WindClan. Those are the clans outside the clan. No. They do not have them in this one. I think it's Leaf Bear, New Leaf. Leaf Bear is winter. Leaf Fall? I think it's Leaf Fall is fall. New Leaf is spring. And then I don't know what summer is. Can't remember. Google that. Warrior Cats season names. Why Leaf Bear though? Because it's like bare of leaves. Like there's barely any leaves. No more leaves. The trees are bare. The bare leaves. Oh, green leaf. That's what it's called. Green leaf is summer. Fall is leaf fall. Winter is leaf bear. And spring is new leaf. Bear, not bear. Yeah. Wah, 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 wah. Oof. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick. We're on chapter 4. Oh my god, we've already read 30. We're already on page 33. Wow. Okay, hold on. Pee time. my book came back. Hold on. Wait, how did that happen? Oh my god. 1 second, guys. Movement lock. No! Not my items. I have like, see, this is my first book. And then I have the second book because I couldn't find the asset that I had done for the first book to put the second book on. So I have a new book now. But when I go to toggle my warrior cat toggle, it toggles my old book still. So I have to make sure I don't toggle it. Okay, bye, 1 second. I'm back. Yes, it is W. Oh no. I forgot to plug in my iPad. Thank you. We're back. We're back. Okay. I think we'll read one more chapter because it's gonna be a short stream today. One more chapter and then I'll do the announcement and then everything will be spick and span because we'll be moving on to that announcement debacle. Okay. Chapter 4. Okay, maybe if this chapter ends in a cliffhanger, we'll continue. If not, we'll just end. If it's a cliffhanger, but it's not like, you know, like a big enough cliffhanger. Okay, shit! If it's a cliffhanger that I want to read, then I'll keep on going. If it's a cliffhanger that I think that I can live without reading for another week, big stretch, then it's okay. Okay, chapter 4. As they headed out of camp, the two young warriors nearly crashed into Whitestorm, who was leading Sandpaw and Running Wing into the forest for the dawn patrol. "Sorry," panted Fireheart. He stopped, and Graystripe skidded to a halt beside him. Whitestorm dipped his head. "I hear you two are going on a mission," he meowed. "Yes," Fireheart replied. "Then may you have StarClan's protection," meowed Whitestorm gravely. "What for?" Sandpaw sneered. "Off to catch voles?" Running Wing, a lean tabby, turned and whispered something into Sandpaw's ears. Her expression changed, and the contempt in her green eyes switched to guarded curiosity. The patrollers stepped aside and let Fireheart and Graystripe pass. The pair raced on and scrambled up the side of a ravine. Fireheart and Graystripe shared a few words as they followed the route through the forest to the 4 trees, saving their breath for the long journey ahead. They paused at the top of the steep slope on the far side of the oak-shaded clearing, their sides heaving from the climb. "Is it always windy up here?" grumbled Graystripe, fluffing out his thick fur against the blast of cold air that swept across the uplands. "Suppose there aren't any trees to block it," Fireheart pointed out, screwing up his eyes. This was WindClan's territory. As Fireheart sniffed the air, he detected a scent that all his senses told him he should not be there. "Do you smell RiverClan warriors?" he murmured uneasily. Graystripe lifted his nose. "No." "Do you think there might be some here?" "Hi, Terry." "Maybe. They might want to make the most of WindClan's absence. Especially since they know WindClan will be back soon," Fireheart warned. "Well, I can't smell anything now," whispered Graystripe. The two friends padded watchfully along the frozen turf trail sheltered by heather. A fresh scent stopped Fireheart in his tracks. "Can you smell that?" he hissed to Graystripe. "Yes," whispered Graystripe, flattening against the ground. "RiverClan!" Fireheart dropped into a crouch, keeping his ears below the heather. Beside him, Graystripe lifted his dark head to peer over the bushes. "I can see them," he murmured. "They're hunting." Fireheart stretched up curiously to look. 4 RiverClan warriors were chasing a rabbit through a patch of gorse. Fireheart recognized Blackcough from the gathering. The smoky black warrior pounced, his claws unsheathed, but sat up again with nothing to show for the chase. The rabbit must have made it back to safety of her warren. I don't know if you guys could hear this. I have a daycare that's really, really close by my house, and all the kids are outside and they're busy screaming. So if you hear like screams in the background, it's the kids from the daycare playing outside. Fireheart and Graystripe dropped down again and pressed their bellies against the cold turf. "They're not real good rabbit hunters," Graystripe hissed scornfully. "I guess RiverClan is more used to catching fish," Fireheart whispered back. His nose twitched as he smelled the scent of a terrified rabbit coming nearer. With a pang of dread, Fireheart heard the paw steps of RiverClan warriors fast approaching after it. "They're coming this way. We'll have to hide." Follow me," whispered Graystripe. "I smell badgers this way." "Badgers?" Fireheart echoed. "Is that safe?" He'd heard the story of how Halftail had lost his tail in a fight with a bad-tempered old brook. "Don't worry, the scent is strong but safe," Graystripe reassured him. "There must be an old set near here." Fireheart sniffed. His scent glands picked up a strong, almost fox-like scent. "Are you sure it's abandoned?" "We'll know soon enough. Come on, we've got to get out of here," replied Graystripe. He led the way quickly through the low bushes. The rustle of heather told Fireheart the RiverClan warriors were closing in. "Here!" Graystripe shouldered aside a tuft of heather to reveal a sandy hole in the ground. "Get inside! The badger's scent with the sky's ours. We can wait till they're gone." Fireheart slipped stealthily into the dark hole, and Graystripe followed him. The scent of badger was overwhelming. Paw steps thudded on the ground overhead. Both cats held their breath as the steps halted, and one of the RiverClan's warriors. "Badger set!" From the rasping mew, Fireheart knew it was Blackclaw. A second voice answered, "Is it abandoned? The rabbit may be hiding inside." Fireheart felt Graystripe's fur bristling beside him in the dark. He unsheathed his claws and stared at the entrance to the hole, ready to fight if the warriors came inside. Wait, the scent leads this way, meowed Blackclaw. There was a scrapple of paws overhead as the River Clan warriors charged away. Graystripe slowly let out a breath. Do you think they're gone? Perhaps we should wait a little bit longer. Make sure none of them stayed behind, Fireheart suggested. No more noises came from outside. Graystripe nudged Fireheart. Come on, he meowed. Fireheart followed Graystripe cautiously and out into the daylight. There was no sign of River Clan patrol. The fresh breeze cleared Fireheart's scent glands of the badger scent. We should look for the Wind Clan camp, he meowed to Graystripe. It'll be the best place to pick up the scent. Okay, answered Graystripes. They moved slowly through the heather, keeping their mouths slightly open to pick up the scent of any more River Clan warriors. They stopped at the foot of a large flat rock that slopes up steeply, past the tops of the gorse bushes. I'll climb up and have a look, offered Graystripe. My pelt will blend better with the stone. Okay, Fireheart agreed, but keep your head down. He watched his friend creep up the rock. Graystripe crouched at the top and gazed down at the plateau, then skidded back down to Fireheart. There's a hollow tree over there, I think, Graystripe puffed, signaling with his tail. I can see a gap in the heather. Let's check it out, meowed Fireheart. It could be the camp. That's what I thought, Graystripe nodded. It's probably the only place up here that's sheltered from the wind. As they neared the hollow, Fireheart raced past Graystripe and gazed over the edge. It looked as if a StarClan warrior had reached down from the sky, scooped a paw full of peat from the plateau, and replaced it with a thick tangle of gorse that grew almost to the level of the ground on either side. Fireheart sniffed. He could smell many scents, all Wind Clan, old and young, male and female, and, in the background, the faint odor of fresh kill that had long since become crow food. This had to be the abandoned camp. Fireheart bounded down the slope and plunged into the bushes. The gorse tugged at his fur and scratched his nose, making his eyes water. He could hear Graystripe behind him, cursing as thorns snagged his ears. They pushed through the sheltered clearing. The sandy ground had been trodden hard by generations of paws. At one end of the clearing stood a rock, warm smoothed by many wind-blown moons. This is their camp, all right, Fireheart murmured. Can't believe Broken Star managed to drive Wind Clan out of such a well-protected place, meowed Graystripe, rubbing his sore nose with one paw. It looks like they put up a good fight, Fireheart pointed out, realizing with a jolt how badly ravaged the camp was. Clumps of fur littered the ground, and dried blood stained the sand. Mossy nests had been dragged out of the dens and torn apart, and everywhere, stale Shadow Clan scents mingled with the smell of terrified Wind Clan cats. Fireheart shuddered. Let's find the scent trail out of here, he meowed. He began to sniff the air carefully and moved forward, following the strongest scent. Graystripe padded after him into a narrow gap in the gorse. Wind Clan cats must be even smaller than I remember, grumbled Graystripe as he squeezed through after Fireheart. Fireheart glanced at his friend, amused for a moment. The scent trail was quite clear now. Definitely Wind Clan, but mixed and pungent, as if made by many frightened cats. Fireheart looked down. Drops of dried blood dotted the ground. We're heading the right way, he meowed darkly. 2 moons of rain and wind had failed to wash away the signs of suffering. Fireheart could clearly picture the defeated and injured clan fleeing from their home. With a surge of anger, he bounded after his friend. The trail led them to the far edge of the uplands, where they stopped to catch their breath. In front of them, the ground sloped away to the two-leg farm. Far in the distance, where the sun was beginning to set, loomed the towering shape of the high stones. I wonder if Nightpelt was there yet, Fireheart murmured. In a tunnel below the high stones lay the sacred moonstones, where the leaders of each clan shared dreams with StarClan. Well, we don't want to find him down there. Graystripe flicked his tail at the wide expanse of Two-Leg land. It'll be hard enough dodging Two-Legs, rats, and dogs without meeting the new Shadow Clan leader as well. Fireheart nodded. He thought back to their last journey across this land, with Bluestar and Tigerclaw. They had almost been killed by an attack of rats, and only the arrival of Barley, the loner, had saved them. Even so, Bluestar had lost one of her lives. The memory of it stung Fireheart like a wood ant. Do you think we'll find any trace of Ravenpaw down there? Graystripe meowed, turning his broad face towards Fireheart. I hope so, Fireheart replied solemnly. The last he had seen of Ravenpaw had been the white tip of his tail disappearing into the storm of the uplands. Had the ThunderClan apprentice made it safely to Barley's territory? The two warriors started down the slope, carefully sniffing each clump of grass to make sure they stayed on the WindClan trail. It doesn't look as if they were headed for high stones, Graystripe remarked. The trail took them sideways into a wide grassy field. They skirted to the edge, staying near the hedgerow as WindClan had done. The scent led them out of the field and onto a two-leg path through the small copse of trees. Look, Graystripe meowed. Sun-bleached piles of prey bones lay scattered in the undergrowth. Mossy bedding had been gathered beneath the thicket stretches of brambles. WindClan must have tried to settle here, Fireheart meowed in surprise. I wonder what made them leave, asked Graystripe, sniffing the air. The scent is old. Fireheart shrugged, and the two cats followed the trail onward into a thick hedge. With a bit of a struggle, they wiggled through onto the grassy verge. Beyond a narrow ditch lay a wide earth track. Graystripe leaped nimbly over the ditch and onto the hard red track. Fireheart looked around, stiffened as he recognized a hard-edged silhouette in the difference. Graystripe, stop! He hissed. What's up? Fireheart pointed with his nose. Look at the two-leg place over there. We must be near Barley's territory. Graystripe's ears twitched nervously. That's where the dogs live. But WindClan definitely came this way. We'll have to hurry. We need to get past the two-legs nest before sunset. Fireheart remembered Barley telling the two-legs let their dogs loose at night, and the sun was already sinking towards the craggy tops of the high stones. He nodded. Perhaps the dogs chased WindClan out of the woods? With an anxious twinge, he thought of Ravenpaw. Do you think he found Barley? He asked. Who? Ravenpaw? Why not? We made it this far. Yawned Graystripe. Don't underestimate him. Remember that time Tigerclaw sent him to Snake Rocks? He came back with an adder. Fireheart purred at the memory as Graystripe leaped across the track and through the hedge on the far side. Fireheart chased after him, quickening his pace to match his friend step by step. A dog barked furiously from the two-leg nest, but its furious snarling soon faded into the distance. The temperature plunged at the sunset, and frost began to form on the grass. Should we keep going? Asked Graystripe. What if the trail takes us to High Stones after all? Nightpelt will definitely be there by now. Fireheart lifted his nose and sniffed the browning fronds of some ferns. The smell of WindClan, sour with fear, prickled at him. We better keep going, he meowed. We'll stop when we have to. The cold breeze carried another odor to Fireheart's nose. There was a thunderpath nearby. Graystripe screwed up his face. He'd smelled it too. The warriors exchanged a look of dismay, but pushed on. The stench grew stronger and stronger until they could hear the roar of the thunderpath monsters in the distance. By the time they reached the hedge that ran alongside the wide gray path, it was hard to make out the WindClan trail at all. Graystripe stopped and looked around, uncertainty showing in his eyes, but Fireheart could just make out the fear scent. He crept through the shadows beside the hedge until he reached a place where the hedge was less thick. They sheltered here, Fireheart meowed, imagining the terrified WindClan cats staring through the hedge of the thunderpath. This was probably the first time most of them had seen a thunderpath, Graystripe remarked as he joined Fireheart by the hedge. Fireheart looked at his friend in surprise. He had never met a WindClan cat. They had been driven out of their territory almost as soon as he had become an apprentice. Didn't they patrol their borders? He asked, puzzled. You've seen their territory. It's pretty wild and barren, and the prey's not easy to catch. I guess they never thought any of the clans would bother hunting there. After all, RiverClan has their river, and in a good year, our forests are filled with prey, so no clan needs their skinny rabbits. A monster roared past on the other side of the hedge, its night eyes glaring. Fireheart and Graystripe flinched as the wind buffeted their fur even through the wall of leaves. When the noise had faded away, they sat up cautiously and sniffed through the roots of the hedge. The trail seems to lead under here. Thunderpath is a road, yeah. Fireheart and Graystripe... Fireheart squeezed onto the grass verge that lay along the thunderpath. Graystripe scrabbled through behind him, but on the other side of the hedge, the scent trail stopped abruptly. They must have either doubled back or crossed the thunderpath, Fireheart meowed. You look around here, and I'll check the other side. He fought to keep his voice calm, but exhaustion was making him desperate. Surely they couldn't have lost the trail now after coming so far. Oh, Chapter 5! Oh, it ended very suddenly. Dun 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 dun. Okay, I think it's okay to end there. Chapter 5. We're on almost on page 40 already. I think we're reading faster. Okay, the area is way bigger than I thought it was. I think it's... I've never been able to make the... or create the size in my head. There's a map. Do you want to see the map, guys? Warrior cat... forest map. Pause time! Here it is. The forest territories. Copy. Save images. Image. Okay. Here's the map. So we have the River Clan camp, Sunning Rocks. This is where the fight happened. Where's Four Trees, Owl Tree? I don't know what that is. ThunderClan camp. There's ThunderClan camp. The Great Sycamore, Snake Rocks. ThunderClan territory looks so much bigger than everyone else's. But like, it isn't that big, right? If this is the size of a house. And that's like a little bridge there. Like, it isn't that big. But that's for scale, yeah. Yeah, exactly. For us... Oh, look, I just noticed there's horses here. Wee snaws. Yeah, they're a lot smaller, but it also makes sense that they're able to travel that fast, right? Like Fireheart and Greystripe, they went from the ThunderClan camp all the way to the Four Trees. So they just kind of like went there and then to the WindClan camp. And where are they right now? I guess they must be kind of close by here? Close by Barley's farm and close by this thunder path. At least they have their enemies in strike distance. It's true. So it makes sense that, you know what they say, that it only took them like a chapter to get from there to there. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So true. I could never look at this because in my mind, you want to see? Okay, I want to hold on. We're gonna do something a little. Where do you think WindClan is though? Missing. They're missing, guys. Okay, hold on. Ooh. Can I do this? Display capture. Nice. Bum ba da dum bum 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 ba dum bum bum. Okay. I'd stream. But I'm like in the way. Hold on. Hold on. I got to move myself a little bit. Double me. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, so this is how my mind imagined it. Double trouble. So it imagined... Wait, where's my... Do we not have a... Oh, there we go. Okay, so it imagined, say this is ThunderClan. This is Thunder. Thunder. This is ThunderClan territory. This is where Rusty's house was. Rusty. House. The river. And then it kind of disappears. I don't know where that river goes to. This is the River Clan border river. And this is River Clan. River. And then down here, it kind of connects into the 4 trees. Trees. Boom, boom, boom. And then here is the thunder path. Kind of goes all the way up here. Beep, 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 beep. And I think, actually, I don't know where it goes. Where does the heck does the road go? I don't know. In my mind, the road just vanishes. It disappears somewhere here. It's gone. And then this is Shadow Clan. And then this is Wind Clan. And then this right here is where Barley's residence is. The farmlands are like kind of like along here. They're calling it Thunderflash because the cars make noises that cats... Yeah! They do! Anyways, this is how my brain imagines the map versus what it actually is, which is like, it's kind of like turned a little, right? It's more rotated this way. It's rotated that way more. But this is how I always imagine it. And then I imagine the camp. The camp is here. The camp is here. The camp is here. And the camp is here. This makes complete sense in my brain, by the way. And then their camp is like here. Actually, in my mind, they're a little bit more... Wind Clan is a little more this way. Like, they're more beyond River Clan. And then this is where the farms are. Farm. To be some projection, which explains why it was tilted. More map talk. More map talk. Anyways, this is my brain summary of the things. Thank you for watching my beautiful... Don't know if you can say such big words. Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so. It's a bit too big for little old me. Alright, guys. You know what time it is. It's time for the announcement! It's time for the announcement! Are you guys excited? All right, guys. All right, guys. Bam. The Minecraft server is open! Yeah! We have a modded Minecraft server! Woohoo! Wahoo! Dun 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 boom 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 boom. Kind of mods. It is under the Bounce SMP. The Bounce SMP mod pack. Let me find it for you. The good kind. Yes, the good kind. Here, I'll read the description for you guys. I've been setting this up for the past few days. This pack came out literally 2 days ago. Like, the pack was published 2 days ago. So it has a lot of hiccups and stuff, but we've been working on it. I talked to like the host of the server host people, and they helped me make sure that it was all good. We were having some crashing issues, but then we fixed those with the support help. Okay, here, let me read you guys. The endless canvas to paint with your friends. Bounce SMP. Welcome to Bounce SMP. The mod pack used in the hit streamer survival multiplayer server Bounce SMP. It's designed to be the ultimate social multiplayer server experience with tools and content designed around having fun with friends and building a world together. This is not a normal pack where you progress from point A to point B or build a factory to eventually become God. Bounce SMP instead goes back to the roots of Minecraft and seeks to enhance that feeling of I can do anything through offering players a playground of tools to bring an endless amount of their or others' custom content, as well as curation selections of the most fun mobs on the web. Add custom content! So, one of the really exciting things about this is that they have a special mod called, what is it called? It's called, okay, it's a special thing, and basically what it does is it's like a 3D modeling software that lets people make custom things for Minecraft. And the way that he set it up is so that when he opens his Discord server for this, people can just drop their custom content that they made in it. I think it's called Bamo or something. So I'm really excited. So then when the Discord channel comes out, then I can keep on updating the server with cool new custom cosmetics and stuff that people make. Ba-ba. Let's keep going. Let's keep reading. That's why it says add custom content. Easy to use tools and add your own blocks, cosmetic, emotes, images, and music. Check out the tutorial info. Choose a race and jobs. You can choose a race between mushroom, monkey, slime, demon, timeless, and human. And then you will get a job. And the jobs they have are farmer, blacksmith, monster tamer, librarian, miner, and then jobless. Embark on an adventure. Exciting structures and dungeons. Enhanced combat. Fun boss fights. Exciting transportation options. No dwarves. I know, no dwarves. No dwarves. No sea ones either. Very sad about those. No small. But you can? Okay. They had like a timing lean in one of the origin mods that I played once. They don't have that in this mod, but there's quests that you can do to make you bigger or smaller if you want to be different sizes. Exciting transportation options, cars, aircraft, hookshots, trains, and more. Build a thriving economy. Trade with NPCs. Use in-game money to trade. Sell your goods using shops. Endless varieties. Wood types, stone types, crops, foods, weapon variety, and more. I am worried that the PCs might not be able to handle some of the stuff in this mod, but give it a try. Give it a try. I know, oops, I moved this. So on my thing, it says, I'm gonna have it so it's set up so it's whitelist only because I don't want people grieving. But because it is an expensive thing to host it, I'm gonna have it so only subs can enter. Like, you have to sub and then you can be whitelisted. But the thing that I was saying, everybody who's regulars, everyone who's already in the Discord, and everyone in chat can just come in for free today. Wah! Sorry, I knocked this down. So you don't have to be a member. I mean, you don't have to be sub. You can just come in. You don't gotta worry. You don't gotta worry. So today? Yes! Today! I mean, also, like, I mean, it's not today only because, like, don't worry. I have all of this written. Here, I have all of the information set up in the Discord server. And so what's gonna happen is that's what the tickets are for. Here, let me rename it. Rename. And I have instructions on how to set it up and then some little other instructions. Yeah. CurseForge will handle it for you. Edit channel. Let's call it Minecraft white listing. Ah! Okay, so the process is, you start a ticket, create a ticket in the Discord server. I'm gonna change the description so that for new people they can understand. Go into the Discord server, go to the MC whitelisting place, open a ticket, and then give me your Minecraft username. Once you give me your Minecraft username, I can whitelist you into the server, and I'll give you a special role that lets you see the Minecraft tab in Discord. So you'll be able to actually see how to set it up, get the server ID, etc., etc. And you can access that anytime. Starting now. I'll post this tomorrow on Twitter, so you guys have like a chance to come in and get yourself comfy if you want. Yeah! This is the exciting stuff. Exciting. I'm really excited. I'm not streaming tomorrow, but on Friday I'll stream this. I'll stream my Minecraft server. So you guys can get a little taste if you're not in it already. Yes. Okay. That's the big news. That's the big news, guys. Can you see that I'm not very good at graphic design? What's funny is when I was younger, I used to pride myself in like being good at graphic designs, because what I would do was I would get 2 images and then I would change the opacity and I would put it on overlay and it would look really funky and I'd be like, oh, I know, I'm like amazing. And then here's the big thing. This is how you really edited a picture. Especially if you're like making it for like warrior cats, you would get lyrics of a song and you would copy and paste the lyrics on to the graphic, and then you would shrink it really small so it just looked like you couldn't really read it, but you could read it if you really tried to read it. And that was it. Maybe one day I'll give you guys a real tutorial on how to make a warrior cat graphic from 2008. That'd be fun. Okay. I'm going to, now that it has been announced, I'm going to end and finish writing things. You're a proud console gamer? That's good. Wait. That means you can't play? Anyways. Rest in peace, Box. Ow. Ow. You have to go on a PC. Get PC. Get PC Box. Get PC Box. Oh yeah, you can't do, I think it's only, because you have to be able to access CurseForge. Okay. I'm gonna end now. And I'm gonna help set up Minecraft shenanigans. If you wanna send me your username, I'll be in the server, hopefully. Think of this like a test run, so we kind of like see whether or not the server can really handle it. I have a gamer laptop somewhere in my house. Yes, gamer laptop. Yeah, baby. Yahoo! Alright. We're not gonna raid today because there's too many exciting things going on. Okay. Book, book, book. You've never played Minecraft? Oh my gosh. Good luck. Have fun. You have to have Minecraft though. So if you've never played it, then that means you would have to buy Minecraft. The Java edition. Java. But if maybe you have it and you haven't touched it, that's fine. Meow. Boop. 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 Java. Yeah, Java. There's Bedrock and Java. We're using Java. Java. Is it Java? It's Java, right? Nowadays, if you buy Minecraft, you buy both Java and Bedrock. Oh, really? Well, that's good to know. This one time, when I was trying to get Minecraft to play with some friends, I accidentally bought Bedrock, and then I was really sad because I needed Java, and I was depressed, and I cried. And then my friend bought me Java for me, and I was happy again. Java forever. Nowadays, people are making tutorials for like Bedrock Minecraft farms and only announcing it at like the end of the video. And so you finish doing the entire thing and then are like, oh yeah, by the way, this only works in Bedrock. Ha 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 ha. And then it's sad. Okay, guys. I'll see you guys on Minecraft if you can join. If not, I'll see you on Friday, where we play Minecraft. Yeah! Woo! Bye, guys. Bye. You won't be able to join? Why?